Brakathe Awa, Brakathe Al Shai, Brakathe Awa, Brakathe Al Shai, Brakathe Awa, Brakathe Al Shai, Kaloi Mihawa, Ba'ashim, Al Shai, Ba'ashim Rakal, Gadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, which are a great millstone. Peace and blessing to the sincere Akim, pushing the truth and sincerity, and diligently putting up videos up throughout the week to feed the sheep. It's Maquad from the Trumpet and VA camp, and I'm going to get right into it. It says, the Department of Homeland Security classes non-violent environmental activists in the same domestic terrorist category as Dylan Roof and James Fields. And they are two wicked, murderous, bloodthirsty Edomites that they're lumping these people in with. Well, us, ultimately. Watch this. This is Dylan, this murderer, this sick red man, the Edomite. It says, is an American white supremacist and mass murderer convicted for perpetrating the Charleston church shooting. Now, this is this sick Edomite, this murderer, this pedophile, this red man. Look at this sicko. He just looks sick. All these Edomites look sick. This is this murderer, James Field. It says avowed neo-Nazi James Fields Jr. was given a second sentence of life in prison for killing a woman and injuring. This is the pervert. Slucky. This is the pervert that ran his car into people in Charlottesville. This was this same pervert that did that. But yeah, these Edomites are murderers. So the point is, they're like I just said, the Department of Homeland Security classes nonviolent environmental activists in the same domestic terrorist category as Dylan Roof and James Fields. Now, we already knew this based on this right here, Project Megiddo. It says Project Megiddo was a report researched and written by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, under Director Louis Freeh, released on October 20th, 1999. The report named followers of white supremacy, Christian identity, the militia movement, Black Hebrew Israelites, and the apocalyptic cults as potential terrorists who might become violent in reaction to the new millennium. Now, the new millennium is going to be the new world order, and they're naming these people as people who are going to come up against, who could potentially come up against them. Now, we already know that come Jacob's trouble, that these are going to be actual militia groups that are ready to fight. Right now in the state of Virginia, you have militias already activated and ready and waiting because they're trying to take away certain guns from Edomites, and Edomites are not having that. So they got militias set up and ready, and they're even got the police force, certain police forces in Virginia that's down with the militias, and they're going to stand and fight whoever try to comes in and take their guns. So these things are already set into motion. That you got a lot of people on this list is already waiting. Like, for an example, the Hebrew Israelites, not the black Hebrew Israelites, but the Hebrew Israelites. We're spiritually prepping. We're spiritually prepping for this battle. It's coming. And you got, like I said, you got militias already on standby, waiting for things to pop off. But like the scriptures say in Jacob's trouble, you are going to have groups like this rebelling, sedition among men, and these days are going to come. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. So through Project Megiddo, we already knew that Esau was targeting us through everything else and lumping us in with everybody else. Matter of fact, I even heard Trump say that black extremists are worse than Al Qaeda and white supremacists. But second Esdras 15:16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Now it says they're not going to regard their kings or princes. Why not? Because it's going to have specific presidents and governors or whatever. It's going to be set up, and they're not going to worry about none of it. They're going to come in and they're going to do whatever they want to do because they want to keep their guns, because they're going to want to eat. Stores are going to be shut down, martial law, etc., etc. And through Project Megiddo, they already got their list already set up onto who's going to be a problem in that day. And I was going to touch on how Esau tracks us. Matter of fact, let me get back to the thing first, because I kind of like started the video over because I wasn't recording. I didn't even know it. But it says property of the people previously use freedom of information act required Slakia act request to force the Department of Homeland Security to reveal that it tracks members of value of Valve Turners of non-violent environmental group that practices civil disobedience against oil pipelines alongside of white nationalist mass murderers and killers like Dylan Roof. It says, and James Fields, who murdered Heather Heyer when he drove his car into an anti-neo-Nazi counter-protest in Charlottesville. It says the Department of Homeland Security classes environmental themed ideologies with radical ideologies as drivers of domestic terror attacks, despite the fact that while nationalist violence has resulted in repeated mass murderers, Edomites, so-called white people, while environmental direct action is generally non-violent and does not harm people. It says Sam Jessup, one of the activists named in a document, said the bulletin sheds light on the role law enforcement and intelligence agencies have played in suppressing dissent, equating mass murder by white supremacists with what Michael and I did is totally obscene. Jessup said in an email, this whole infrastructure of so-called security has done little more than secure the future of the fossil fuel industry by terrorizing people into silence. Jessup, a 34-year-old who has served as a driver and videographer, live streaming the action in North Dakota. Michael Foster, a former family therapist who lives in Seattle, turned the Valve. So basically, the cat is coming out the bag on Project Megiddo, which people don't. It's not like a general thing. Now they obviously are finding out that they're linking up environment activists that are speaking up against the ways of America in whatever form they're doing it, and they're labeling them as potential problems. That's Project Megiddo, which we have been speaking on, and we've been knew that they lump us in with terrorists and things like that. They, like I said, Trump said we're worse than Al Qaeda and the KKK. Watch. See, here it is right here. FBI Franks. Black identity extremist bigger threat than Al Qaeda white supremacists. Al Qaeda, and white supremacists. So, and Trump basically spoke on this too. But the point is, this the black extremists are obviously talking about the Hebrew Israelites, because there is no other so-called black extremists out there, but they don't actually go into name and says Hebrew Israelites, but we know that's what they're talking about. And since they say we're worse than Al Qaeda and white supremacists, obviously on that list of the Project Megiddo, you're going to have us being on the top of that list. Ultimately, we are the only problem. Like I said, they're linking everybody else in, so they don't make it look like they're singling us out, because that's what niggas say. Niggas got in their mind that, oh, this is all in your mind. They're not worried about y'all, this, that, and the third. Because if they were to just singly attack us, then that'll bring more validity what we saying. Because right now, people are not really worried about it, because they're like, man, y'all just out of your mind, y'all bugging, this, that, and the third. Now I was going to touch on how Esau, because it said that Esau is tracking people, and Esau is tracking the majority of the Hebrew Israelite camps, because it says in 2018, 36 hate groups were tracked. Like, say right there, they're tracked. They were tracked in Pennsylvania. And right now I'm in Virginia, but when I was in Philadelphia, I found this right here. Trump in Philly, black nationalists. Now, when we're out there, we're not yelling at people saying, hey, we're trumpet in Philly, we're the Hebrew, we're trumpet in Philly. So they obviously are tracking us and obviously did some kind of homework to find out, one, we're in Pennsylvania, and two, we're trumpet in Philly. So they obviously had to do some kind of a homework to set this up. So that just goes to show you that Esau is tracking people, and things like Project Megiddo is still up and running. And you gotta best believe, if you in this truth, Esau is gonna roll on you. And Yahushua told us that already, that was gonna happen. Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh, Yahweh Shem Yashai, from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. And right now they are fearing the name. They fear the name of Yahweh Shem Yashai. That's why, matter of fact, it was like a couple weeks ago where they had a sign on a flagpole. I mean, on like a pole, and it was red. Yahweh Shai is coming back, and Esau got upset when he seen that. He called it anti-Semitism, stupid shit like that. But the point is, they dread the name of the Yahweh Shem Yashai. Okay, and there's always been, they always dreaded the name of Yahweh Shem Yashai. It says, when the enemy shall come like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yashai shall lift up a standard against him. So so Yahweh Shem Yashai, they waiting for the Edomites and the heathen that try to roll on the Israelites again. But this time it's gonna be different. Yahweh Shem Yashai is gonna lift up a standard, kind of like back in the ancient world with Egypt, when Pharaoh was trying to come up against the Israelites, and Yahweh Shem Yashai brought curses and plagues upon the land as a recompense. And those days are coming back. Okay, those days are coming back. There's going to be recompenses for the things that they've done unto the children of Israel. That's going to be that standard that's going to be lifted up. But with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakal, Kadash, Adawan, Ratazah, Tamayim, Akim, Yakal, Shalom.